Hi guys, happy Tuesday. You know what it is. It's time for some weekly training. Today I am taking it back to the basics of sponsoring. So if you have already sponsored a team member, I'm going to ask you guys to drop a heart below. If you have not sponsored a team member, but you want to, I want you to comment me below. The word M-E, me, right? Okay. Me is for the people who want to. A heart is for the people who already have at least done one. So I want to be able to see these. So I can kind of help you guys along to see who is on and what the majority of us, where we're at with our business, okay? I definitely, if I were watching this, I would be dropping a heart right now. I have sponsored at least one team member. Yes, very exciting. I know. Thank you. Thank you for sponsoring, those of you who have. Those of you who haven't yet is our magical 3-letter word, right? Yet means it just hasn't happened for us yet, right? Those of you who haven't yet sponsored, haven't yet started building a team, but you want to, and you see the success that others have, or you see the paychecks, or you see and hear the stories of those who are what we would call quote unquote successful in their businesses, right? Or are happy with where they are and the money that they're making. I want you guys to keep something in mind whenever you're seeing those posts, whenever you're watching that, and maybe you are feeling that twinge of, I'm not as good as. Oh, that's a tough one, all right? I hate that. I hate trying to swallow that pill. I'm not as good as they are. I'm not as good at sales. I'm not as good at sponsoring. I'm not as good at just selling Scentsy. I'm not, whatever. Fill in the blank. It doesn't really matter. I'm not as good at cooking dinner. I'm not as good at waking up on time. You can really use this for anything, right? Here's the thing. Every single one of us have our own journey, our own path to be able to walk, right? In life, in general, and especially when it comes to our business. I know that I have talked about my story before. You guys are probably familiar. But remember, I want to remind you that I did not join Scentsy. I didn't hit that join button just because I wanted to have a business. I didn't ever think I would have a business income. I never really focused on that. I never expected that. I didn't have any expectations because, in all honesty, I just liked the product. I liked the wax and warmers. And I wanted the community. That's what I wanted out of joining Scentsy. That is why I clicked that join button. Now, along the way, some things happened. I had a different outlook. I changed the way that I was looking at Scentsy. I started to see Scentsy as a vehicle to get me to the things that I wanted to accomplish for me and my family. My husband and I were both working full-time. Different schedules. I was working, when I first joined, I was working overnights. He would work during the day. We had Madison, who is now 13, right? But she was, 2.5 at that time. And we certainly could not afford babysitting. So that's how we ended up having to do things, right? And then it came that we needed a car. How in the world am I going to get money for a car payment, right? Like, I'm already working. He's already working. Diapers are expensive. This is like a never ending cycle. I am not winning at life. How am I going to do this? And that's when I started to really look into my business and say, how can I do that? How can I at least get enough money to make a car payment every single month, right? Like, I see these people with talking about, this great success that they have, or they're able to do this, they're able to quit their jobs, all the things that we see and hear all the time, right? I never really believed that I would ever quit my job and do Scentsy full time. Never, ever did I. For years, I never thought that. And I had to learn that it was my path that I was on, right? My path was my journey. Some people have joined this business and have literally become a superstar director in like 6 months, 9 months, a year. I joined in 2012 in January. So this coming January will be 12 years for me. I am not yet a superstar director. I am a star director. I'm just not a superstar director yet, right? That 3-letter word, yet. And that's because this is my journey. I felt very cringy when I would talk about Scentsy a lot. So I really had to retrain myself how I talked about Scentsy. It was a hard thing to do because at that time, there weren't a whole lot of people talking about side hustles or here's how you get successful on social media. Like it wasn't everything that we have now. I'm telling you guys, there are so many resources out there that we can pull from, that we can use to inspire us, to get ideas, to learn how to do new things, the programs that are involved, all of the above, right? We have a lot of information at our fingertips, and we have a lot of things that we're able to pull from to be able to make this business whatever we want. So if we want to talk about, well, it's just not easy for me, or maybe I'm not meant to do this, here's the thing. You practice what you preach, right? If you are all the time talking about how you can't do something, or you will never do something, guess what? That's what you're going to believe, right? That's going to be the mindset that you have towards whatever it is. You're going to believe, like I would believe, I will never make enough money with Scentsy to be able to pay a car payment every month. Never going to be able to do that. Spoiler alert, I did, okay? It wasn't by luck. It wasn't by chance. It was because I put in the work. I changed the way that I thought about Scentsy. I changed the way that I approached Scentsy. I changed everything about how I actually worked the business, because another spoiler alert, I wasn't really working the business. I really wasn't. I certainly wasn't doing half of the things that I do now. Not because I have a bigger team or for any other reason other than the fact of I now have a business mindset and I know what I want out of this business and I'm going to make it happen. That's my mindset. That was not my mindset then. So you have to start at the mindset of everything, right? So we're bringing it back to the basics when it comes to sponsoring. So if you have ever said, I will never sponsor, or I've sponsored, but they never did anything, I want you to throw all of those things out the window, all of them out the window, right out the window. I want you to start from scratch. Sponsoring is something that can come from many different places. A lot of people will tell you, oh, well, you have to be, all over social media. You have to be doing X, Y, and Z in order to get people to join your team. You have to be successful. You have to be, I don't know, whatever. I don't even know what people say, because honestly, I don't focus on what other people say. I focus on what I'm doing and what my personal goals are. Mindset. Okay, mindset shift. Things that we do to ourselves is we tend to get in our own way. We become our own worst enemy, right? Because we talk ourselves out of it. We talk ourselves out of the fact that I can sponsor. We talk ourselves out of the fact of saying, oh, they probably don't want to join Scentsy. They probably have no desire to do this, right? They don't want to do this. I'm not even going to ask. They don't want to do it. Why are we filling in the blanks for other people? If somebody had did that for me, maybe I would have eventually joined Scentsy. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't have. I had never even heard of Scentsy, honestly. When I was even thinking about joining, I hadn't even heard of it. Somebody brought it up. Used to be a friend. They had brought it up, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I like things that smell good, so can't be all that bad. I knew nothing about the business. I knew nothing about the products. Nothing. I knew nothing about social media, okay? I've worked in a hospital for the majority of my working years. In a hospital, in healthcare. business, right? All those things. Not social media, not marketing, not, how to get rich, none of those things, okay? Learn how to work for a paycheck. That's what I learned how to do. But we have to be able to get out of our own head. We have to be able to get out of that mind space. So we have to change our mindset. And for a long time, one of the things that I would do is I would actually take a Post-it note and I would put it up in the bathroom, on the bathroom mirror. And I remember it said, "You've got this. You've got this." That sounds cheesy and maybe it sounds corny. But every time that I looked at that Post-it note, when I would get ready for work, I would be standing in the bathroom doing my makeup or doing my hair, whatever it was. And I would see that ding dang note and I would just be like, "You've got this," or whatever. Well, maybe I'll do something with Scentsy when I get home later, right? Like, it was like kind of sitting in the back of my head, like, okay, maybe I can, maybe I can do a little something, right? So I had to get out of my own head. And so when we talk about joining Scentsy, and maybe when you're having a conversation with Scentsy, are you using, "Do you want to join my team?" Are you using that phrase? I used that for a long time, let me tell you. Will people join with that phrase? Sure, I'm sure they will. But they probably have a different reason for joining. Not because you said, "Would you join my team?" That's not why. It's not why. They've either been inspired by watching you or have seen or heard about Scentsy and have been intrigued or just, are ready to do something new, whatever, right? Here's how I started to change the way that I was sponsoring. And here's how it started working for me, is I would have people who would ask me about Scentsy. They would ask me about buying. They would tell me they were interested in the products or they liked Scentsy, what have you. And I would always end every conversation, whether it was a message on Facebook or it was an email I got, or if it was somebody I actually was talking to in person, which, to be completely honest, in the beginning years, it was not very often. I didn't talk about Scentsy very often when I went out because I'm an introvert, believe it or not. But what I started saying, like, as my automatic response was, "If I sent you some information on doing what I do, would you look over it?" Let me tell you, I got so many yeses when I would say that it completely blew my mind. I was shocked. I was like, wait, you do? Okay, right? Like, wow. I would get so excited. I would honestly be shocked, because here's the thing. When I started taking control of the conversation, when I started saying, "Can I just share with you what it's about?" rather than "Join my team." Right? "Join my team" sounds a little salesy. Maybe it sounds a little cringy to you. It still does to me. I don't like it. Even though I do find myself saying it from time to time, I really try not to use that phrasing. But it was if I sent you some information, or when I was packaging up an order or doing a follow-up, "Hey, if I sent you a link with some information about doing what I do, would you take the time to look at it?" And people were saying yes. People were saying yes. And I soon realized that, why am I so worried about this? Why am I so like, I don't want to talk about this? Because at the end of the day, I was still going to be me. I was still going to be working my business. I was still going to be doing everything else that I was doing. Why was I not doing it? So when I got out of my own head and I started having real conversations, and I started sharing what I loved about working the business, because, and you guys will know if you've watched me on YouTube for any length of time, especially in my earlier videos, that I would talk about things. Scentsy was always, and still is, it was my happy place. It's my happy place. So when I'm at work and it's chaotic and all the things are going on, right? When I'm in my Scentsy office, when I'm here, I'm the boss, right? Like, this is my joy. I love it. I love what I do. And if I can help somebody else feel that way, even if it's for an hour a day when they're doing their business work, I'll do that 1,000 times over. Now, I tell you all the time, I tell people a lot that I have built my business on social media, and it is true. I have. That is how I built my business. That's how I built my customer base. And that's where the majority of my work really happens, is online, on social media. Here's what I learned over the years, over the almost 12 years of being a consultant and doing social media, is I learned that when I was on social media, I would begin to picture having a conversation with somebody. So when I was writing my captions, for instance, instead of being like this generic, I want to help you make your life better. I don't know. I really had to have somebody in mind. So I know I'm probably saying this really weird and out of context, but I would picture one of my best friends who still to this day, she has nothing to do with Scentsy. She buys Scentsy from me, but she has nothing to do with Scentsy. She has no desire to do what I do. And that's fine. We still are great friends, okay? But I started picturing her when I would get on social media and talk about the opportunity, when I would talk about what I loved about Scentsy. And I would start saying, you will love this because I know that you love to be able to be creative and you don't have a lot of time to be creative. Scentsy allows me to be creative when I want to be creative, right? Making samples, doing things on Canva, making up fun emails or all the things, right? When I started pretending that there was a person on the other side of that screen that I was speaking directly to, my whole outlook, the whole way that I would talk about Scentsy changed, right? It wasn't just I'm blasting this all over social media. It was, I'm talking to someone. I'm talking to someone. I'm not talking to everyone, because here's the honest to goodness truth. Not everyone is going to have success with Scentsy. They're just not. No matter if their mindset is there or not. They're just not. This isn't for everybody. Just like being a doctor isn't for everybody, right? Being a veterinarian isn't for everybody. Being a firefighter, it's not for everybody, right? But for the people it is for, this can be the world. So think about that. Instead of trying to talk to everyone, start talking to someone. Start talking to someone. Having the ability to utilize what Scentsy already gives us when it comes to the host exclusive kit is phenomenal. Okay. We always have that, and it's always something that we can share, we can talk about, we can educate our customers. And let me tell you that you're going to find that there are customers who end up joining your team. Yeah. It happens. Can you believe that? It happens. People love Scentsy so much that they're just like, screw it. I'm just going to join. I'm going to do it myself, right? I love it when that happens. I love when my customers are just so happy with the products or with what Scentsy offers and the opportunity and all the different things that they're like, I want in on that. I want in on that. And that's a phenomenal thing. That's a really great, powerful thing, right? Because here's the thing, right? Like, I buy a lot of things from Amazon. A lot. Way more than my husband would approve of. But it's my guilty pleasure. I love my Amazon. But if Amazon were to say, hey, Jacqui, we'd like to give you a job. No, thank you. No, I don't want to work for Amazon. No, I just want to buy from you. Thanks. Right? Think of it that way, right? It's the same thing, but when it comes to our Scentsy business, maybe you're going to ask, maybe you're going to offer to give them something to look through, whether that's looking through something online or a link that you've created, whatever it is, right? There's so many different ways we can do project broadcast landing pages. We can do a Canva scrollable site. We can use Google Sites. There's so many different ways that we can get information out there. We can do a short video and send that out to people, right? We can include things in our mail outs about joining and the opportunity, all of that. But what you really want to do is you want to be able to work with people who want to work. People who want to work. People who want to do something with this business. One of my favorite people to talk to told me once, if you have to beg someone to join, you're going to have to beg them to work. Oh, that hit so hard. That hit so close to home. I was like, dang it, she is so right. You have to beg them to join. You're going to have to beg them to work. Stop begging people to join, because if it's not for them, it's not for them. It may not be their journey. You are not there to decide other people's journey. You are here to offer an opportunity to make something out of this business. And maybe that is a little bit of extra spending cash. Maybe it's a car payment. Maybe it's bigger. You don't know what somebody out there is really looking for. So stop getting in your head and take yourself back to the basics. Take yourself back to just simply having conversations with people as individuals instead of to the masses. And I guarantee you, you are going to have more and more success when it comes to sponsoring in your Scentsy business. Bye, guys.